Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC 287, Pereira versus Adesanya 2. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Sam Hughes versus Jacqueline Amarim. And how I see this one right here is more like an average confidence Jacqueline Amarim to beat Sam Hughes. I feel let me talk about Amarim first. Let's talk about Amarim. I just feel like on Amarim's side, she has all the talent and all the skills, but she just simply does not have the resume as far as MMA. Like outside of MMA, like her jiu-jitsu credentials, her wrestling credentials, like it's there, it's proven and whatnot. But as far as in MMA, she's for literally tomato can, like this build her up, prop up fighter, like fighters who's going to make her look good. Sam Hughes might not be no outstanding talent or anything, but she has, at least for proven competition, we at least got, relevant tape on her. Like, when you look at her, you got relevant tape, where you don't have that on Jacqueline Amarim. But I'm leaning to the hype of Jacqueline Amarim. I'm leaning to the skill set. And judging from the tape I've seen on her, that limited tape and limited, competition, I'm saying power, I'm saying the BJJ, I'm saying the grappling skills. And I feel like she'll be able to get Sam Hughes out of there. I'm making like a second round submission, probably hurt her in the first round, fill her out first round, then hurt her again second round and tap her out second round. Yeah, I just feel like Amarim should win this one. And also look at Sam Hughes. She has only really beat people that have had out of cardio deficiencies, or really mostly cardio and grappling deficiencies she has beaten. So she hasn't really went in there with like a heavy-handed, well-rounded talent like Amarim and had success. So I'm going Amarim here, second round sub. So again, Jacqueline Amarim via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Steve Garcia versus Shailene Nuerdanbieke. In the high season right here, as I'm going low confidence Shailene Nuerdanbieke. I'm really not feeling either guy, but I'm especially not feeling Steve Garcia. I just feel like his striking sloppy, especially on the defensive side. He's an okay fighter. Like when you look at his resume, it's not all that bad, but it's not all that good either. But I just simply don't like the fact that his chin's up there. He swings so sloppily. He doesn't learn from his mistakes. And that's the stuff I don't really like in a fighter. And he presents all of those things that I do not like. So low confidence Shailene Nuerdanbieke seems to be the more physically imposing fighter. Seems to be the better wrestler. Garcia probably overall the better grappler. Well, maybe submission grappler. Better wrestler Nuerdanbieke. Better submission grappler Garcia. This could easily be a fight that goes both ways and this turns into a scrappy decision. But I'm going Shailene Nuerdanbieke. Going to go with the continued evolution of his striking and evolution of his game. Probably be able to dictate where this fight goes, mixing in overhands, mixing takedowns. Very scrappy fight. And I'm expecting Garcia to have non-existent striking defenses per usual. I'm expecting Nuerdanbieke to touch him with some power, hurt him, and to be able to get him out of there. Scrappy first round, but then in the second round, as the fight settle in, Nuerdanbieke is able to find those shots over the top, crack Garcia, hurt him, and just keeps like putting the pressure on him and getting him out of there in the second round. So in this one, I have Shailene Nuerdanbieke via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have a catchweight bout at 160 between Trey Ogden versus Ignacio Bahamondes. And they've been saying this fight supposed to fall off, supposed to be here, supposed to be not. I'm not even sure at this point. But anyway, I'm still going to predict it. Ignacio Bahamondes here. I'm going average confidence to beat Trey Ogden. I just feel that Bahamondes has had that first loss in the UFC, and now he's getting a chance to bounce back from it. Like, he had that first loss, he bounced back. Now I feel like he has a groove. And I feel like Ogden, in this fight, his best thing would be to try to mix this fight to the ground. I don't feel like he should come in here feeling too confident about his striking. I'm not saying to not trust your striking, but I think the clear path to victory for him is getting this to the ground. And I don't think he's going to do that as much. I don't think he's going to be as aggressive with the takedowns as he needs to be. And also, in general, his takedown offense isn't the best, to be honest, to begin with either. Stuff like this, he's going to end up striking with too much with Bahamondes. And by the time he starts to, really show that, that desire to get the takedown, start to really work for the takedown, I feel like it's going to be too late. I feel like early on, he's going to try to fill out Bahamondes and probably be on the wrong side of the striking total. Bahamondes landing more, being longer, sharper, landing heavier shots, being more consistent, being a more technical striker. But Ogden still, holding a good account for himself, but still down probably like 10 significant strikes and really carrying all the damage like on his side, like he's getting the damage dealt on him. And then probably late into the second round or mid into the second round, when he actually gets hurt, he gonna start to panic wrestle instead of, just really start to mix it in early and try to crowd his way into the clinch or work his way into the clinch and then look at the takedowns. It's probably the case where he's gonna be so comfortable striking or too comfortable striking. And then it's gonna be too late before he starts implementing that. But even if he does start with the right game plan, his offensive takedown isn't the best. And I don't think he's gonna come out there so aggressive with his takedowns that he's gonna be trying to go for like 4 or 5 takedowns, or if that's even in his ability, if he's even capable of that at this level. So yeah, I can't really trust his offensive takedowns. I think Bahamondes, like I said, he has had that chance to bounce back from a loss and get his head back on straight. And I think he's gonna come in here and thrive. And I think he's gonna stop him in the third round, probably fill him out first round, hurt him more in the second round. The third round, just wrap it up and get him out of there. Third round. So in this one, I have Inoxio Bahamondes via third round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Cynthia Calvillo versus Lupita Godinez, and I'm going low confidence Lupita Godinez here. I just feel like it's still so many questions on both sides. Like Calvillo, are you going to start to have you refound your motivation? Like, talking about you got a nutritionist now and you're making 115 well and stuff. Like, so you're back at a smaller weight class, the weight class where you had your best success at. So you probably be to have better success wrestling these women if you still have it. But again, is your motivation there, or did you just get a nutritionist and like it helps you make the weight class? Well, they help you make the weight class smoother and help you get back to 115. But yes, that's one part of it. But is the motivation there? Is the momentum there? I don't know. And Lupita Godinez on her side is like, you can say, oh, she's been doing this, she's been doing that, but every single time she's fought a step up in competition, she has lost. So it's like, it's too fires. Like Calvillo at one point was like answering questions and was looking like a promising prospect. I mean, she had her setbacks, but at least she had won some of these big step ups or looked good in these step ups and probably should have won these step ups. But Lupita Godinez has like pretty much clearly lost all her step ups. So it's like almost kind of mirroring each other in a way, I guess. Godinez trying to get to where Calvillo was before or beyond that, and Calvillo trying to get back to where Calvillo was. So it's like, again, mirroring each other. So I'm going Godinez here. I can't trust the motivation of Calvillo. I don't like the fact she's 35. I don't like the age. I don't like the motivation. I do like the fact that she is making it 115 smoothly, and that's cool and all. I like that. But I feel like she has been looking pretty terrible over the past couple years, and I can't really get behind that. And I feel at least Godinez, even though she keeps falling flat and needs a step up, I see her improvements in her in like every single fight, win or lose. Calvillo, I feel like she has declined. That's all I've seen from her. Not no improvements, just decline. So I'm expecting this to be a very tough fight, but I think Godinez is simply just going to outwork her. It's going to be probably hard to get takedowns. Hard to work for this, hard to work for that. Both of them like having issues grappling each other, but it's going to come down to who won it more. And I think Godinez is going to go out there, throw more strikes. Just probably look to, this when it's needed, when it's a close, tight rounds, I could trust Godinez more to let her hands go more, work harder for the takedown, especially work harder down the stretch. I feel like Calvillo also cardio has been looking worse over the time. And who knows how that's going to affect her cutting down. Your cardio looking terrible at 25. You return to 115, cutting more weight is going to look even worse. Yeah, a lot of questions, but going Godinez to outwork her down the stretch. So in this one, I have Lupita Godinez via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman. And how I see some right here is I got average confidence Carl Williams to beat Chase Sherman. I ain't going high or lock. Carl Williams is still a guy that's you're trying to get to know. You're still trying to get to know. Chase Sherman, we pretty much know. Like he wins, he loses, wins, loses. Like unable to stack wins together. That's not a good look. Like not really ever improving his skill sets. Wrestling not improving. Striking defense not improving. But hey, like he's okay. He's okay enough. I guess he could stick in the UFC. He's UFC caliber to some extent. But what can you even say? You're UFC caliber. You can't really stick around the UFC. You could win. I don't know. I can't even say, but either way, I feel like Chase Sherman. Let me just get down to the point of it. I think the bigger reason I'm going with Carl Williams here is Chase Sherman's inconsistency, but it's not purely off Chase Sherman. I think, matter of fact, in this one, my lean into Carl Williams is not even about Chase Sherman. It's about Chase Sherman, but it's not as simple as the some of the times where I pick against Chase Sherman. I was like, man, I don't care who fight him. It's Chase Sherman. I'm picking this guy because he's fighting Chase Sherman. But it's also more so because I like Carl Williams. I feel at this current level, I feel like You know, the current level he's fighting at in the UFC, the current fighter, the batch of fighters he's fighting at this ranking is on the way up. I feel he'll have good success against them. He seemingly has a good head on the show, like he's a smart fighter. He's not out there just trading big shots. He's not one of those heavyweights that don't train any grappling, don't got no BJJ, and they just go out there swing sloppy fat hooks and stuff. Like this sloppy street barroom brawler type heavyweights of this generation. So like he fights pretty smart. He can mix the takedowns in well. He already out-wrestled with a collegiate wrestler, dominate him in the wrestling department, dominate his other opponent in the wrestling department. So he fights smart. So he mixes shots in well. He don't get in any unnecessary exchanges he doesn't need to get in. Seems to have good condition. I haven't seen him slow down and just be mouth breathing out there. So like he just goes out there, has a good work rate, good head on his shoulder, good work around skill set, and again, good fight IQ. And I like that especially against a guy like Chase Sherman. So that's where the connection comes. So I feel like he can mix it. I feel like he can outstrike Sherman, but I feel like he'll, do the smart thing. He'll mix up the takedowns, and I feel like he should be able to put on a pretty dominant performance against Chase Sherman. Just really avoid getting into unnecessary exchanges. And I think he'll do that, smart guy. And I think he'll do the smart thing to do. So in this one, I have Carl Williams via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, Gerald Meerschaert versus Joseph Pyfer. And the high season right here is going low confidence Joseph Pyfer here. I just feel like Pyfer hasn't really proven himself just yet. Like I'm definitely impressed with what I've seen from him before, but Meerschaert is definitely a big step up from the competition he has for. Like he just been on demo. He been on beginner's island. That's like the competition he's been fighting. Now you're getting thrown in. It's like Meerschaert is not the bottom level middleweight. He might not be exactly middle. He might not definitely not be high or top of the top, but he definitely, I think, considerably far from the bottom. Like the guy's kind of just sitting at the very end of the middle of the pack, I guess. But the guys are very, very good at upsetting people. Good wear on a skill set. Good veteran. Like got lots of fights. He got 50 fights in MMA versus Pyfer's 12. It's not like Meerschaert's like 40 and just like everybody knocking him over. Now he likes kind of just sitting at the inside, just sitting at the end of his prime, and just sitting at the end of the lower end of the middle of the pack. So yeah, he's kind of at the end of a couple things, but that's another scary factor. Like this kind of a position where he can thrive in or has shown the ability to thrive in. But I like Joseph Pyfer. I like his mindset. I like the fact that he has a well-rounded skill set, and he's like a thinking fighter. He's not a fighter just like. Also, he has some setbacks in his career as well. So it's like he just got this feeling like I'm like I'm invincible. Like he has his losses, he rebounded, and we saw his recent track, like a smart, educated fighter. And I feel like I like his youth, I like his age, I like his physique, and I like the skills he presents. But yeah, Meerschaert definitely could present big issues for Pyfer, but I feel like Pyfer has learned his lessons and fighting with a good head on the shoulder. I feel like he should be the better wrestler. And I feel like he should be able to dictate where this fight goes. Then on the feet, I feel like he has the heavier hands, and I feel like he's the overall cleaner striker at this point. But Meerschaert could definitely maybe pose a question to that or prove that to be wrong. Because again, this is a big step up for Pyfer. You can look good when you're fighting lower guys, but when you take a big step up, your striking look like it was maybe on tape better than mine. But we both standing here in front of each other. I have fought much better guys, and I will show you that I'm the better striker. So again, a lot of questions, but I'm going Joseph Pyfer. I'm going like second round TKO. I feel like he can defend the takedowns, keep the fight where he wants it for the most part, and then really be able to settle down into his strikes and find Meerschaert and put him out second round. So in this one, I got Joseph Pyfer via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Michelle Waterson versus Luana Pinheiro. And high season right here is I'm going Luana Pinheiro. I think about low confidence here. Michelle Waterson is a good veteran, but she's getting up there in age. Luana Pinheiro is a good prospect, or was a good prospect. In fact, she's still a good prospect. She hasn't lost yet inside the octagon. And even if she did lose, that would not deny you from being a good prospect. But I think the biggest issue, is the fact that she did have that kind of questionable performance against Randa Marcos. That's the big issue right there. Like she was going out there, I guess, expecting to run through Randa Marcos, and then when Randa Marcos was still there, like she was doing all these flashy throws, just throwing a whole lot of offense out there. And I feel like she saw opportunity or took advantage of the fact that Marcos hit her with like a knee or up kick or something, and then just did the Aljo. Matter of fact, I think that fight was before the Aljo fight, but anyway, she did some theatrics. Matter of fact, it was after. She did some theatrics, and the fight was turned to no contest. So we don't know how the fight would have played out, or she would have had to grit out a fight, well, the rest of the fight just tired on an empty gas tank, but still getting by on her talent. But yeah, it was not a good look. Now she's taking a step up in competition against Michelle Waterson. So she took some time off. And now she's taking a step up in competition. You know, hasn't had a chance to really address that performance. And this is the chance to address that performance. And it's in a step up. It's not like you're getting a step down or moving laterally or getting a perfect opponent, like opponent with no jiu-jitsu or opponent with really nothing to threaten you with. But yeah, you're getting a veteran here. But I'm going on to Pinheiro. I just feel like Michelle Waterson, like, she's getting up there in age. I don't like that. I feel like Michelle Waterson does try to initiate some grappling a lot of times. I feel like Pinheiro, and also with the head and arm throw that Michelle Waterson likes to throw at sometimes, I feel like Pinheiro, with her judo background, could exploit that. And I feel like that will be a bigger part of the finishing sequence in this fight. I'm thinking like Pinheiro, like a second round submission over Michelle Waterson. I feel like it'll be exchanges. Pinheiro been the longer fighter, probably trying to throw some teeps, keep her at distance. Then Michelle Waterson try to flurry in. And then either her initiating the takedown or maybe Pinheiro catching Waterson when she enters in and gets close, maybe lashing onto her and then trying to hit judo throws from those positions. I think they'll scramble. I think Pinheiro will be strong in those positions. Eventually, I just feel like, just feeling her, feel for her in that first round, but still very close first round. And then by the second round, I feel like Pinheiro will have a beat on Michelle Waterson's entries. I think a beat on what Michelle Waterson's thought process will be. Then I think she'll be able to exploit that, get a trip on her. And then maybe when Michelle Waterson is trying to base up or trying to work herself back to her feet, Pinheiro will beat her to the transition, probably hop on an armbar or something, some type of submission. I'm thinking armbar. It's like a second round submission armbar. Beat her to the transition, take her arm, get the tap, second round sub for Luana Pinheiro. So in this one, I have Luana Pinheiro via second round submission. Now to our next fight. We have in the middleweight division, Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis. And how I see this one right here is I'm going average confidence, Chris Curtis to beat Kelvin Gastelum. And how I see this one right here is I'm going Chris Curtis. It's I already said like 9 times. But yeah, the reason I'm going Chris Curtis here is I just feel there are reason these so-called sharps and everyone is going Gastelum like, this is smart money, even though he's a favorite and he hasn't won a fight in like since 1992. We feel like it's a stylistic matchup, and Kelvin Gastelum could throw this outland Curtis. It's going to go to decision. Curtis thinks he's Marlon Vera or something, so he's going to just sit there and take all these shots, clean on the chin or something, or on the arms. And Gastelum is going to outland him, maybe by like 5, 6, 7 strikes, maybe 20, maybe 30. And it's going to win a value. So I was like, Gastelum got a chin on him, so he doesn't get knocked out. So he just got to be himself, and he'll win. But I don't like that. I just feel like that's been my thing for every single time I picked against Chris Curtis, and I have been wrong picking against Chris Curtis, is for that same exact reason. Like, his opponent's going to throw more. Maybe, and definitely Kelvin Gastelum is probably better equipped to do that than the people I picked against Chris Curtis. But still, I just don't like the fact this is just really the same exact script. Like, this guy's going to outland him and beat him to a decision. That's all. Like, Chris Curtis is going to be this too accepting of his opponent, just getting the higher volume on him. And he's going to be looking for that one punch. And he's going to lose the decision, but not. Like, Gastelum's smaller, got a shorter reach, got terrible momentum right now, hasn't won a fight in a long time. Definitely this is a good stylistic matchup for Kelvin Gastelum to back up. To bounce back. It's like, hey, we're going to give you your best chance to beat a relevant fighter and the best stylistic matchup to beat a relevant fighter. Pretty much. That's what we're giving you. This guy not going to try to wrestle you and grab you. This guy not like 9 feet tall and going to just kick you from miles away. This guy's going to box you. Like, so it's seemingly a good stylistic matchup, but I just feel like Curtis has sharper defense, has sharper hands, cleaner boxing. That's why Kelvin Gastelum going to probably come out there with good offense, but I feel like it could look a lot like the Jared Cannonier fight in a not exactly, but similarly. Like, this cleaner offense from Curtis, more accuracy with his offense. Gastelum, a lot of shots just hitting the guard, whereas Curtis shots going to be hitting Gastelum flush on the face. And I think he will drop Gastelum like 2 times in this fight. But I do think this will be a tight match because of the reasons people are listing. Like, yes, Curtis is not the most active with his offense, and he's a little bit too comfortable on defense. But still, it's like Gastelum going to throw up 2,000 strikes. And even if he did, I feel like Curtis will be able to find the openings and counter him in that. I think he will be able to counter him. I think he'll be able to drop him on offense, and I think he'll be able to drop him with a counter at this fight. Probably like both in the second round or maybe one here, one there. But I'm thinking like 2 drops from Curtis of Gastelum, just taking advantage of the gaps in his offense and the lapses in his defense. And I think Chris Curtis gonna have the more fundamental boxing and fight with a more composure and beat Gastelum, especially when Gastelum starts to get hurt. I feel like he's gonna start looking a little bit demoralized, gonna be a little bit more tentative on offense, and that's what defense and countering does to people when you start getting tagged. I know Gastelum at points in his career was just relentless berserker, I guess, this mini berserker, and like he'll get hurt and come back more motivated. But I think at this point in his career, especially with the losses and the damage he's took, I feel getting hurt and drop he's not gonna have the same steam. And if anything, still Curtis not gonna get overzealous by dropping. Curtis is a veteran of this game, so I expect him to keep his composure, and I think he'll win this one in the decision. Fun fight, but I think Chris Curtis will be the sharper fighter, and that will get him the decision victory. So in this one, I have Chris Curtis via decision. Now to our main card. So in our first fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. And the high season right here is I'm going Raul Rosas Jr. going like average confidence here to beat Christian Rodriguez. I feel like Rodriguez is a very special talent, just as Rosas Jr. is a special talent. But I feel like Rosas Jr. is a special talent that could go on to be a title challenger, where I feel like Rodriguez is a special talent that could be kind of maybe it could be a high. I'm not saying high yet. I feel like he could be a good middle of the pack guy right now. This is what I'm forecasting from him. He could be a good middle of the pack, but I feel like Raul Rosas Jr., especially with his age and where his talents is at, I feel like he could be, he could potentially be a champion. Like he could definitely pull that upset champion out. Like, you probably got Umar, Umar Nurmagomedov. Like that's gonna be the future champion. This guy gonna be future champion. But Raul Rosas Jr., I feel like he could definitely surprise a lot of people. I think he will surprise people later on in his career. Maybe not too far in the future, but let's get back to this prediction. Yeah, I think Christian Rodriguez is an amazing talent as well, but I feel like his strengths or his style will play into Raul Rosas Jr.'s style. I feel like Rodriguez will be more willing to throw flashy strikes that will get him caught and taken down. I think he'll be more willing to jump on submissions and attempt submissions. I think Raul Rosas Jr. will be able to defend with good technique and be able to get out of these submissions and end up in very advantageous positions and just be very heavy on top. And just make Rodriguez have to work and carry his weight a lot in this fight. Even though he tried to come in on overweight, he tried to come in a little bit heavier, I still don't think it's going to help him. Like, his style is his style. I don't think he'll out-wrestle Raul Rosas Jr. I think his submission skill is pretty solid, but I think Raul Rosas Jr.'s BJJ is still cleaner than his. And his top control is pretty solid, too, as well. So, I feel like he'll be more than comfortable with Rodriguez on the ground. I think he'll be able to dominate the top position, whir on him over the course of the fight. And I think he taps him out late. I think, like, third round sub for Raul Rosas Jr. So, in this one, I have Raul Rosas Jr. via third round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. In the high season right here, I'm going Kevin Holland, low confidence. And this low confidence is mainly coming because of the quick turnaround for Kevin Holland after the Wonderboy loss. It's not purely because it's not mainly because of fight IQ that he showed in that fight. It's because did he not get injured in that fight? He took a lot of damage, it seemed. Maybe a little bit more exaggerated than it didn't, like, maybe people are exaggerating about the damage he took in that fight. Still, no, it wasn't just like he just had a light sparring session. He took some damage in that fight. Nothing super, super crazy, but I think the biggest thing is the fact, did he not break his hand in that fight? Did he not break his hand in that fight? Or fracture his hand in that fight? And did he give himself enough time for that hand to recover? That's the big if, and that's why this is low confidence. So it's a combination, like 80% because of the hand and the injuries, and like 20% because of fight IQ. But I don't feel like his fight IQ should be eating worry against Ponzinibbio. He's the bigger, longer, younger fighter. I think he's better than Ponzinibbio in every area. And Ponzinibbio himself has not been fighting nearly the level of competition that Holland has been fighting. And the guy that's just like a shell of himself ever since he returned. Like, look chinny, getting rocked by jabs, rocked by anything that touches him on the chin or comes close to touch him on the chin. Like, Ponzinibbio just looked like a shell of himself. He looked flat. He looked stale. But guess what? That experience and the skills, he still was able to eke out some fights. But yeah, he has, to be honest, not a single one of these performances he has looked like vintage Ponzinibbio or even anybody that should really be a big concern of anything to anyone that's any bit good. Like I said, he's been able to eke out some wins or a win or something like that. Yeah, Baez a win and barely eked that out. And Baez is not even looking good right now. Barely eked that out, but that was probably supposed to be a decent win at the time. And then Morano was just cleaning him up and he got a Hail Mary overhand, knocked him out. So, like, those his wins, and like, yeah, the guy that's not been looking good to me, to be honest. So I still feel like Kevin Holland should be able to find a range, use that length, start touching Ponzinibbio. I think once he starts to find Ponzinibbio's chin, I think it's pretty much all she wrote, and I think he can get him out of there like Second round, I'm gonna say submission. I feel like he should be able to tune him up with the boxing, take advantage of him when he tries to cover range with clean counters, just put it right on his chin, like put a two right on his chin as he comes in or tries to cover that distance, hurt him, put him on skates, probably put some volume on him. Ponzinibbio tries to shoot for like a single or something. I think Holland grabs the neck and taps him, or just takes it back and taps him. Probably more so like a highable guillotine or something like in that second round. But anyway, I'm going second round sub for Kevin Holland. So in this one, I have Kevin Holland via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. And how I see that one is I'm going, Adrian Yanez going a little with average confidence to beat Rob Font. I think Rob Font will lead well early through maybe the first round or first minutes of the first round. But I think ultimately, Yanez will start to get his timing more so in the late first rounds and especially in the second round. Will be good, will be able to get a beat on his jab, catch him over top with an overhand, like slip the jab, come over the top, hurt him, drop Rob Font. Rob Font probably recovered pretty well. And then Yanez drop him again. Third round, probably another pretty close round, but then Yanez finding that drop again. Close round, he probably still be winning. Yanez will be winning that third round, but especially he'll definitively win that round with like another drop of Rob Font in the third round. And I think he beats Rob Font in a close fight. Well, close fight outside of drops, but the drops being big factors in just making it clear that he wins. So clear fight, but close outside the knockdowns. But the knockdowns making it pretty clear, So in this one, I have Adrian Yanez via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the welterweight division, Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. And how I feel about this one is I'm going Gilbert Burns. I'm going high confidence to beat Jorge Masvidal. I feel like Masvidal is a veteran of the game. He's a solid guy. He's skilled everywhere. But I'm going Gilbert Burns here. I feel like Gilbert Burns has very underrated wrestling. He's very explosive, very strong, and he has the power in the striking to gain Masvidal's respect enough to, maybe get him to cover up and then be able to blast and put him on the mat. He has the BJJ skills and the wrestling skills to hold him down and to not only have him worried about wrestling positions, but also BJJ positions. I know Masvidal's trained for all these things, but I think Burns will put a good mix of those things together. It's really just put a grapple-heavy approach on him, put heavy top pressure on him, heavy ground and pound, and it's really wear down Masvidal over the course of the fight. Then his Masvidal is like just worn down, demoralized in the third round, maybe kind of just caught up in the rhythm of Burns' top pressure and being underneath Burns, and like probably have a split mental lapse out there. Like, like you get caught in a pattern, you start to feel like, I'm about to get grinded out to another decision. And then that starts to seep into his head. I think Burns is gonna feel his body kind of go a little bit, not lifeless, but gonna feel that energy seep from his body. I feel like Burns is gonna feel that time and be able to find a submission and tap him out third round. So in this one, I have Gilbert Burns via third round submission. Now to our main event, we have in the middleweight division for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world, the UFC middleweight title, Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2. This is unofficially the fourth time they're fighting because it was 2 times. Well, it's official because they fought. Both of those are official fights. Like he fought 2 official kickboxing matchups. Now this is the second official MMA match. So overall, competitive competition, combat sports, their fourth fight, but second fight in the MMA. So I'm going Alex Pereira here. I'm going to go average confidence. The average confidence is because Israel Adesanya is still a very amazing fighter. Even though he's down 0-3 or 0-1, still a very amazing fighter. And he could definitely pull this one off, but I got to go Pereira. It's hard to go against a guy who's up 3-zip over you. So it's like, got to go Pereira here to beat Adesanya. And I feel like Pereira's much smarter than people give him credit for. And they just say, it's just the hook. It's just the power. But like, he clearly saw a pattern in Adesanya, he exploited. It wasn't just, he just closed his eyes and do a punch. These are both world-class strikers. You don't get to that level just by closing your eyes and having one hand. Like, Pereira's more than just a puncher. He's a intellectual fighter out there, and Adesanya has to realize that. And also, Adesanya has to realize that he is Ogden. He is a monster, and he is a skill fighter. And he also is more than a puncher. He's a high IQ striker, just the same as you, who happens to have a grenade in with his left hand. That man's a monster. That man's a monster as well. But you got to overcome that fear as well, and you got to be able to stare that monster down, and you got to put him on the back foot, and also at the same time, keep your defense sharp as well, keep your reflexes sharp. You got to get him to play your game. You can't just be out there maybe hugging the cage. You can't just be out there hoping to just stick and move necessarily all the time. With power punchers, you got to be able to meet them in the middle and just be willing to, I guess, take some of that power. I'm not saying just go out there and put your chin on a swivel or nothing, but you gotta be willing to bite down that mouthpiece, maybe wear some of those shots on the body, wear those shots on the leg, but be the forward aggressor. And I just don't think Adesanya's gonna do that. I don't know what he's coming out to do, but judging from what I've seen, I'm like not super confident as far as if I was to lean to Adesanya that what he's doing in preparation is gonna, be fruitful. Whereas with Pereira, just the little things he's doing, or big things he's doing, the big little things he's doing, I'm liking that more than what I'm seeing from Adesanya, like swimming and hitting stuff. Like Adesanya really ain't showing much. He coming in to the press conference with a choker on and stuff, like he's supposed to be Jet Li and whatnot. But as Pereira clearly saw that in all their fights, the issue he had with Adesanya was the hands. Like every time he fought Adesanya and got hurt, it was always been with the hands, always been with that sticky jab, then fired or two. It's always been that. That's always was been the setup to damage against Pereira. And Pereira like been working with Olympic boxers. He even like went to work with Gelton Almeida in his BJJ. So he's working all the stuff that's clearly past the victory for Adesanya, where I'm not saying Adesanya clearly work on anything that be Pereira. I feel like Adesanya, I would have wanted to see him focus more on boxing. I'm not saying to go in here is a boxer, but definitely is a kickboxer that has maybe a bit of more of a boxing focus than maybe a leg kicking focus. Then I would be like, oh, I'm liking that from Adesanya. Or maybe, I don't know, working on crafted ways to get the clinch. Not always about the takedown, but crafted ways and not just one entry into getting the clinch. Because then that's how you got set up in the last fight. You kept having the same exact entry, the same exact response, and Pereira was able to slip in a grenade in that opening you kept presenting. Like, it worked for a couple rounds, 4 rounds. Eventually he found the time, especially when he had already saw blood and like check your leg kick perfectly. But yeah, I'm just, all in all, I'm just not expecting Adesanya. Well, I'm not expecting Adesanya to make the necessary adjustments or come in with the necessary approach I would see from him that I could think that he would be able to beat Pereira. And also, again, down 3 zip, hard to go against that. But I'm going to say, shockingly enough, I think this one goes to a decision. I think it's going to be like a close, controversial decision. But I think Pereira will land the more consistent shots. I think he'll land the heavier shots. And I think he'll be the more consistent aggressor. I think Adesanya actually might land more shots, land more volume. But Pereira landing the harder shots and being the authority. And I also think he will hurt Adesanya at some points in this fight as well. But I think Adesanya will recover well. I think he'll mix in clinches well, maybe even get a takedown there that will keep him in the fight. But I think Pereira, again, will do more damage and be the more consistent aggressor, whereas Adesanya will probably land more volume. He'll make good adjustments, but just not enough. And I think it will be a close fight. I think a lot of people probably would say Adesanya should have won, but close, probably controversial, split decision type fight. But Pereira, again, the reasoning behind him winning the decision will be the more consistent aggressor, the more damage dealt out there, and he'll get his hand raised in a decision. So in this one, I have Alex Pereira via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the 4 cards of fights for UFC 287, Pereira versus Adesanya 2. And as always, thanks for watching.